Hey, what's up guys? Pchild here coming at you with Challenge Rift 69 this week. Now, I know what you're thinking, and I'm going to avoid all the jokes that are there. However, what I'm not going to avoid is this awesome chair I'm sitting in from GTOmega Racing. GTOmega Racing makes some awesome gaming chairs. Check them out, man. If you guys are in the market for a new chair, GTOmegaRacing.com. Use the code ThePchild at checkout to save yourself some money. And also, make sure you're following me on Twitter. You can come hang out with me on Twitter. I try to answer any direct messages I get, but I also post my new builds and my new guides on there. So come hang out with me. But without further ado, let's get in there and check this Challenge Rift out. All right, guys, as soon as we get in the Rift, let's click on our soul mirror and see what we're working with today. We are using the Spirit of Arachnid set. The 2-piece bonus is worthless. The 4-piece bonus, Hex, gets the Toad rune, and after summoning the Toad or casting Hex, you get a 50% damage reduction, and you heal for 10% maximum life for 15 seconds. Pretty important. That damage reduction is huge. The 6-piece set bonus gives us 4,500% increased creature damage. The Hex and the Fire Bats are what we're going to get benefit from that. Really, it's the Fire Bats. Nothing else is that important, really. We get Fire Bats increased damage from our staff. We have In-Geom, which is going to give us cooldown reduction after killing that elite pack. Grin Reaper is kind of passive. We don't have to worry about it. The belt is pretty important. Fire Bats deals 253% increased damage to enemies affected by Locust Swarm or Piranhas. Now, we don't have the Piranha rune, so that's going to be procced by our Locust Swarm, which is our number 4 ability. Very basic what we want to do. Channeling Fire Bats is going to increase damage from the bracers. We are going to run into the Rift, and we're going to Haunt, which is our left click, and Locust Swarm, which is number 4. As many things as we can. Once we get those spread around a little bit, we're going to right click and cast Fire Bats on everything. We're going to make sure to keep our Soul Harvest at 5 stacks. That's the maximum stack in this build. We are going to make sure we keep Hex on cooldown to keep that damage reduction up. The other benefits of Hex are nice, but the biggest one is the damage reduction. We want to make sure we're using that damage reduction on cooldown. And then Spirit Walk when we get in trouble to keep ourselves from dying from explosions or when we get surrounded by enemies, etc. This is going to be a slow build. It is going to take time to set up and kill. We are going to cast our Haunt and our Locust Swarm on enemies as we move through the Rift, especially the elites, and then we're going to Fire Bats kill when we have big enough packs to make it worthwhile. Without further ado, let's get in there and check it out. But before we get in there, I'm going to throw a map on the screen. Check out this map. You can see the optimal route to take. I have the first 4 levels mapped out. Unfortunately, I lost some of the data for the end of the 3rd level and the 4th level. However, they're pretty linear. You can follow the path to get out. I just don't have the elites marked, but you shouldn't really need it that much. You should have the Rift Guardian by the end of the 3rd level or the beginning of the 4th. And since they're so linear, just follow the route. All right, guys, here we go. As soon as we get in the Rift, to keep from dying, I'm going to cast Plague of Toads. I'm going to cast all of my abilities, and then I am going to Fire Bats, kill this stuff. As soon as we go north, again, this Fire Bats rune that we have is kind of a ranged rune. So we're just going to spread our dots, left click and number 4, and then we're going to channel our right click ability. And then the first elite pack comes running at you from right here. Again, cast all of your abilities. Stand in those Oculus circles if you can at all. It makes the damage very noticeably go up. So I'm pretty bad about doing that, but if you're struggling at all, that's definitely what you want to do. You can see I'm gonna run this. There's actually nothing down here. I don't know why I came this way. So when you're doing your Rift, don't go down that dead end like I just did. Just continue to follow this path, and then once you get to the end and make that right hand corner, that's when we're going to get another elite pack. So again, I'm just spreading all of my stuff, getting my dots up. I'm going to Fire Bats kill everything. Make sure you're keeping your number 1 ability, your Soul Harvest, on cooldown. Make sure you're using your Hex to keep from dying. Make sure you're spreading all of those wonderful dots that you have. Once we get a little bit of trash like this, I'm going to Fire Bats channel and just kill some things. Again, gonna cast the Toad to get that damage reduction. We want to make sure we keep that damage reduction going. Spreading all of our dots. Again, we have the elite right here. So he just ported me into that arcane beam. That could have been super nasty. Luckily, I didn't die. And then once you get the elite dead, your cooldowns come up so much more frequently. So you can hopefully just keep chaining these elites. So we're going to pop this pylon as soon as I can. It won't let me. So I'm going to kill some of this trash. We're going to get this circle, this Oculus circle right here. Blow this guy up. Again, you can use your spirit walk to get through these big groups of trash right here. Group them up, kill them, stand in these Oculus circles, take advantage of that extra damage, and then go down. As soon as we get to this level, there is a hidden channeling pylon on this level. I'll show you guys where it's at, don't you worry. But we want to loop back and get that. That'll make life pretty easy for us. So many explosions right there. So on situations like that, don't forget you can spirit walk. Because we have that In-Geom, you can spirit walk almost permanently as long as you keep chaining these elites. We can keep spirit walking. So we're going to keep following this path south, but we're going to loop back just a little bit in order to get that channeling pylon. I want to keep this In-Geom going, so I'm going to come down here and we're going to kill these bats. Again, make sure you're using your hex. You need to use your hex. You need to keep that In-Geom going so you can move through the rift fast. Now what I'm doing here is I'm actually backtracking a little bit to get this channeling pylon. I don't know if it's the most time efficient, but I don't know. I like doing it. So we're going to keep doing that. Make sure you pick up your orbs. Don't be like me. I leave orbs laying on the ground every week, it feels like. And then we're going to come through, kill all these things. The more I think about it, that channeling pylon probably isn't even worth our time. So if you guys are struggling at all, you might try a run or two without it just to see. You can cast fire bats infinitely when you do have it. So that's a pretty good thing. But all in all, probably honestly not worth the time. So now that we have our In-Geom, again, we're sprinting through the level. We're mashing our spirit walk because we can. Because we have that In-Geom going. There's an elite right here. So we're going to make sure that we have Locust Swarm and all those cool things on them, blowing this guy up, and we're going to continue the path. Now, if you looked at the map a little bit, you'll see that this just makes a big old counterclockwise circle. So I'm just killing a couple things to try to get that Rift Guardian spawned a little soon, but pretty easy. If you're really struggling, just remember, you can pretty much just 1, 2, 3, 4. Anytime you're going to stop to do damage, just 1, 2, 3, 4 a little bit. Make sure you're left clicking to get those dots out. The dots kind of hop. Once you start chain killing things, the dots kind of hop from elite to, or from enemy to enemy. So spirit walking a little bit further. Trying to kill stuff, man. The density is so low on this level. It's such a shame. Again, spirit walking whenever I can to move through the rift a little bit quicker. These things are worth a little bit. We'll stop here and kill these guys if I don't get myself killed in the process. All right. Got the Oculus circle. We almost got the Rift Guardian. I'm going to go ahead and just kill all this trash and get him spawned. You guys can go to the 4th level if you don't have it yet, but I should be able to pull him right here. And then the same thing. Hex on the Rift Guardian. Cast all of your abilities. Don't stand in front of him and let him kill you. And you should be just fine. And there we go. We had about 50 seconds to spare. If you guys are having a hard time with this, make sure to keep your soul harvest stacks at 5 the whole time. Make sure you're using your hex for damage reduction. Make sure you're using your spirit walk to move through the rift, especially when you have In-Geom, and it also makes you invincible to damage. So use that bad boy. Locust Swarm is important to get on things because that increases the damage of your fire bats, and then just throw your haunt on things just for fun anyways. And if you guys are struggling at all with this, leave a comment in the comment section below. Make sure that you come hang out with me on twitch.tv/the Pchild. I stream 7 days a week at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, Saturdays and Sundays at 11. Follow me on Twitter. I always drop my new guides, like I just had another guide drop this week. So make sure you're following me on Twitter to get those updates. And I also reply to as many direct messages as I can on Twitter. So come hang out with me on Twitter. Come follow me on Twitch. Thanks for hanging out, guys. I will catch you next week for Challenge Rift 70. Peace.